मेरा नाम अरसान अहमद है और मैं पाकिस्तान से हूँ। इस वक्त मैं यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ काजवी में QoE-Net प्रोजेक्ट पर काम कर रहा हूँ।
Merhabalar, ben İstanbul, Türkiye'den Avşar. İngiltere Plymouth Üniversitesi'nde doktora yapmaktayım.
Habari zenu wote, naitwa Bwana Alkado Alex Barokabitz kutoka Tanzania, nipo Plymouth University.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम नवजीत है और मैं भारत से हूँ। अभी मैं किंगस्टन यूनिवर्सिटी लंदन में PhD कर रहा हूँ।
Γεια σας, ονομάζομαι Γρηγορίου Ελισάβετ και είμαι από την Ελλάδα, πιο συγκεκριμένα από τη Θεσσαλονίκη και εργάζομαι στο τμήμα ηλεκτρολόγων μηχανικών και ηλεκτρονικών του Πανεπιστημίου του Κάλιαρη, στη Σαρδινία.
Jó napot kívánok! Karapéter András vagyok, a magyar fővárosból. Jelenleg a Kingston Egyetemen vagyok kutató, Londonban.
Bonjour à tous, je m'appelle Anne-Fleur Perrin, j'ai 24 ans. Je travaille à l'EPFL en Suisse depuis juillet 2015 au sein du groupe MMSPG, Multimedia Signal Processing Group.
Hallo, mein Name ist Werner Robitzer und ich komme ursprünglich aus Österreich. Ich arbeite jetzt an den Telekom Innovation Laboratories bei der Deutschen Telekom in Berlin.
大家好，我叫张晨燕，我来自中国北京，现在在挪威科技大学电子工程与通讯系工作。
Hi, ich bin Samuel Mahmalat und ich komme ursprünglich aus Deutschland, aber im Moment arbeite ich im Rahmen des QoE-Net in der Schweiz für Disney.
So, what is QoE-Net? QoE-Net stands for Innovative Quality of Experience Management in Emerging Multimedia Services. It is a Marie Skłodowska-Curie initial training network funded by the European Commission. And what is quality of experience? Quality of experience is the degree of delight or annoyance of the user of an application or service. Similarly to delight, annoyance comes in different shapes and sizes. Some of these annoyances could cause serious irritations for the end users and may result in the peaceful termination of service consumption, so QoE should be more than just keeping the quality tolerable. For us, QoE is also a quest of excellence. This is what we QoE-Netters are aiming for. So in QoE-Net we are doing research on QoE and its management in multimedia services. And there are many services that people already use. In QoE-Net we are planning to investigate not only existing and commonly used services, but also some that will shape the way of how we consume multimedia and communicate in the future. This includes web services such as web TV, social and immersive TV, and mobile gaming. QoE-Net is composed of a large consortium of beneficiaries and partner organizations, bringing together academia and industry from 8 different countries. In total, there will be 12 early-stage researchers from all over the world hired from the project. They will work on these new topics in multimedia and QoE together with their supervisors and project partners. 10 out of 12 researchers were recruited until the end of 2015, the remaining 2 will join shortly. QoE-Net was launched in 2015 and will last for 4 years. During this time, we will work on the following topics. Content and context-aware coding, that is, coding procedures for optimized QoE at the server side. Context and network-aware delivery to optimize QoE from the network side. Content and context-aware decoding displaying to increase the quality at the receiving side. QoE monitoring, control and management for content and network providers. And finally, we want to work on the definition of QoE, modeling and evaluation. Since QoE-Net is an initial training network, as an important part of the project's goals, it also offers training to the early-stage researchers. There will be online courses held by experts in the field of quality of experience, and we will host training events as well as summer schools. Even conferences are planned for the coming years. In September 2015, QoE-Net had its first network-wide training event, where 6 of the students, who had been recruited until then, came together with their supervisors and project partners. The event took place in Nice, France, and it was co-located with a conference of the European Signal Processing Society, the EUSIPCO. The event had 3 goals. First, bringing all recruited students together for the first time. Second, giving us lectures on current topics in multimedia. And third, training us in scientific knowledge dissemination, particularly in writing research papers and giving presentations at conferences and workshops. On the first day, we all met each other at the Fontaine du Soleil. After a joint dinner and planning session, we then went to our hotels to prepare for the coming 5 days of lectures and group work. The first presentation we saw was a tutorial given by Fernando Pereira, who is an expert in image and video coding. The tutorial was organized in the frame of the EUSIPCO conference, and it was about 3D video and planoptic imaging. We learned about the status quo of 2D and 3D video coding, and about the human factors in 3D perception. The primary focus of the presentation was on planoptics. The planoptic function is a way to represent all information in the scene that is available to an observer at any point in space and time. We heard about the challenge to sample this function, the challenge to develop new sensors and representation models, as well as technologies such as super multiview and light field imaging. Finally, we learned about the current MPEG work on free viewpoint television and the JPEG Plano activity. Fernando Pereira also gave our first QoE-Net lecture in Nice. It was not a strictly technical lecture, instead he talked about life as a researcher in academia. From his own experience, Fernando talked about the most important personal traits and technical skills that are required not to only survive in academia, but also to excel in what you are doing. From Anna Ukanova, we heard her story about how she became a researcher at Google and how her decision not to be afraid to approach others with questions ultimately led to her career being the way it is now. She talked about her technical work for YouTube and how she and her team managed to introduce high frame rate playback as a new technology in YouTube. In the afternoon, we got together for group work. Already before the event, we had been split up into 2 groups of 3 students each to draft the outline for a scientific paper that we would then continue to work on during our stay in Nice. Our groups then started drafting papers about QoE assessment and models and QoE monitoring frameworks for internet service providers. The next day, we had a lecture about immersive media technology experiences. It was given by Andrew Perkis, a professor at the Norwegian University of Science and Technology and member of QoE-Net. Here we heard about new digital media and new forms of communications such as virtual reality and telepresence, concepts that are not new per se, but which are increasingly becoming available on the consumer market. On the 4th day, Touraj Ebrahimi, professor at the EPFL in Switzerland and member of QoE-Net, gave us his view on doing a PhD and what the good, the bad and the ugly parts about it are. Some of the interesting ideas given in his talk had to do with the incredible amount of work that a PhD takes and the idea that it's not just a job but really an investment into the future. For concluding our group work on the final day, we learned how to give a successful presentation from Luigi Azzori, a professor at the University of Cagliari. Another lecture was given by Maria Martini, professor at Kingston University, about writing scientific papers. Both of them are supervisors and partners in the QoE-Net project too. As an introduction to the conference days, the keynotes presented the topics of the day's lectures. The quality of the keynotes was impressive. The topics were sufficiently wide to give the speakers freedom to present an entertaining lecture. The keynotes we attended provided precise ideas of the development and hot topics in wireless speech, recovering data, and brain signal analysis. The 3 minutes thesis contest was a competition between 10 PhD students. Each student had 3 minutes to present their project to a non-specialist audience and talk about its significance. The presenters had to combine concision, interest, and clarity during their oration. A broad range of fields were presented during the competition. We found this contest to be very inspiring for our own work. But just learning and working the entire day can be a bit exhausting. We still had to get to know each other, which Nice offered plenty of chances to. And some say that some students also checked the quality of experience of the sea, which we found to be excellent. As the event came to a close, our two groups had written an almost complete draft for a paper within just a few days of working together. One group later actually submitted their manuscript to be considered for publication in an upcoming issue of the IEEE Communications magazine. For us, the first training event was a great experience and learning opportunity. Not only did we attend interesting lectures in the frame of a large scientific conference, but we also got to meet the other QoE-Net partners and students. Soon enough, QoE-Net will have its second training event in Trondheim, Norway, where we will dive much deeper into a topic that affects researchers who work closely with the industry, patents and intellectual property rights. Also, a workshop on funding mechanisms and proposal writing will be organized by the Norwegian University of Science and Technology. QoE-Net is an exciting project which brings together well-known partners and experts in the field of multimedia coding, networks, quality monitoring and management, as well as digital media and storytelling. In the coming years, QoE-Net will not only guide the long-term research view of the 12 students and train them in a vast area of fields, but also shape the future of quality of experience in multimedia services as a whole.